Now that we've done our first one mean t interval together, I have another one for you to practice. So does the expectation of good weather lead to more generous behavior? Psychologists study the size of the tip in a restaurant when a message indicating that the next day's weather would be good was written on the bill. The tips from 20 patrons measured in percent of total bill are given. So fun thing about this experiment, they actually use 3 different messages: good weather, bad weather, or no message. We want to estimate the mean tip for good weather messages only by constructing a 95% confidence interval. So you do have this data tab. It's called tips that has all the data on here, as well as remember you can make a normal probability plot if you need one. So go ahead and pause the video and give this a try. All right, so let's go through this one together. The P in panic is our parameter statement, what we're being asked to do or find. So in this case, it's a 95% CI, mean tip, good weather message, or anything kind of along those lines would be great. Our assumptions and conditions. So there are 3 of these: random sample, normal large, and then our sample standard deviation. So I didn't see random written anywhere in there, so I'm going to put a star next to that and put not stated. My sample size is only 20, so I can't use the central limit theorem with large. And it doesn't state that it's normal, so we're going to need to look at that normal probability plot. And then we're also going to need to calculate our sample standard deviation from our data as well. So let's go over to Excel. We'll take a look at the normal probability plot and grab our sample standard deviation and mean as well. All right, so here's the data set that we're interested in looking at, and you'll notice there is a good weather, a bad weather, and a no message. So we want just the good weather ones, and let's get our mean and standard deviation from our sample while we're here. So that mean is equals the average, and then we'll highlight the good weather, and equals the standard deviation, STDEV. So there's where I get 1.959 for my sample standard deviation. My sample mean is 22.22. And then let's take a look at this normal probability plot. So we need to go to the data ribbon, and then we're looking for that data analysis. And the choice we've been using this whole time is this regression one. I'll double click that. And then remember that it always wants the interesting data, the Y values first. So it's kind of backwards from what we would expect. I'm going to highlight this good weather, and then I'm going to highlight these observation numbers on the side as my X's. And then at the very bottom, there's a spot to click for the normal probability plot. So I'll click that. And there's my normal probability plot. That actually looks really pretty good, especially with a moderate size sample. I think we're good to go. So our normal probability plot checks off that criteria of normal, and we did get our sample standard deviation as well. And with that sample standard deviation, it means we're doing a one mean T as in tiger interval. So it's always that sample standard deviation that puts us in a T as in tiger distribution. All right, so let's switch over to the Excel calculator so we can put this in and find the endpoints for our interval. All right, so here we are back in our Excel calculator, and we're looking for that tab that says one mean T interval, and this is out of chapter 20. So we had a 95% confidence. Our sample mean was 22.22. Our sample standard deviation was 1.959, and our sample size was 20. And so let's see, let's look at these T-stars for a second. So 95% confidence interval, if we're in a Z as in zebra distribution, that standard or that normal distribution, we'd be looking at 1.96. Here, T-star, based on a sample size of 20, is going to be about 2.093. So there is a small difference there that does impact those results. But let's get our endpoints. So I see 21.3 and 23.1. And then let's go back to the PowerPoint and we'll finish up our conclusion there. All right, so I pulled over our information from our Excel spreadsheet. So there's our 21.3 to 23.1. And so our conclusion here is we are 95% confident the true mean tip amount when a good weather message is on the receipt is somewhere between 21.3% and 23.1%.